So I want to end this section talking about social responsibility. So basically the idea of organizations doing well, not just internally, not just for their shareholders, but also having a positive impact, or at least a perceived positive impact, on the society or social structures that they exist within. In other words, we are not just producing products that the environment wants, we're also helping the environment in general. So corporate social responsibility has become a pretty important buzzword, and it is balancing a couple of tasks. And that is, organizations are, at their heart, designed to make money. But at the same point, they can make more money if they use some of that money to also make the world a better place. So business decision making is linked to ethical values, compliance with legal requirements, and respect for the individual and the community at large and the environment. It involves operating a business in a manner that meets or exceeds the ethical, legal, and public expectations that society has of that business. So when we talk about an organization that has high corporate social responsibility, it's not an organization that's just meeting its expectations. It's one that's exceeding the expectations, the legal expectations, the ethical expectations, and also the public's expectations of what an organization should do for society at large. So one of the ways to look at this is, again, through a simple model. So all organizations need financial responsibilities. In other words, they need to make a profit for their shareholders. They need to, whoever owns them, whether it is a publicly held company, whether it's a small group of shareholders, or whether it's an individual that owns the organization, that organization needs to provide that basic financial responsibility. And much like Maslow's need hierarchy, organizations that are not meeting their financial responsibility are probably not going to be able to meet their other responsibilities. If the financial responsibilities are met, the next level is the legal responsibilities, following the laws of society to make sure that they don't run afoul of these laws. So again, think of an organization that is financially stable. They're also going to try to make sure that they're following the laws of the land. So those are the first two levels. If they have those two covered and are being successful, then we're probably going to start doing what is right and good for everyone. So they're going to start thinking about their ethical responsibilities, starting to think about how they can better their employees. And assuming that all three of these being done, that usually frees up an organization to start thinking about philanthropic responsibilities. In other words, contributing and helping the society at large, providing programs that go above and beyond what they're doing to make money, to follow the law, and to behave ethically towards their own employees. So socially responsible behaviors might include charitable contributions, making efforts to preserve the environment, investing in socially responsible activities, promoting employee welfare. There's a lot of different forms this can take. And generally what we find when we look at organizations that are behaving socially, what we find is what's called a virtuous cycle. And that profitability and social responsibility of the virtuous cycle basically means that we're doing well by doing good, and we're doing good by doing well. So being socially responsible helps the company make more money. And as the company makes more money, the richer the company is, the more it can afford to be more socially responsible. So again, you can kind of think back on that pyramid from a few slides back. If you're a small family business with a single restaurant that's barely making ends meet, it's hard to make paychecks every month, and there's very little left for the person that owns it, and they're almost considering selling, that is not going to be an environment where that restaurant can put a lot of time into volunteering and making contributions and trying to help the environment. However, let's say that that single restaurant chain had become successful. There was now 5 additional locations. Not only was all the locations successful, everyone that was working there is being paid well, has got benefits at this point, and the people that are actually making the money from the organization, the owners, are making more than they ever expected to make. That is an environment where that company is very likely to start thinking about, how can we invest back? Can we create, for example, scholarships that are available for our workers for their children? Can we start thinking about ways that we can clean up the environment or parks near our locations? Those would be all examples of social responsibility. Doing well by doing good, but then also because they're doing good, they also start to do well. People start to go, I like eating at this restaurant, because not only am I supporting a local business, I'm supporting a local business that gives back to the community. I would love to say that this happens because people are just innately good, and in some cases that's probably true. But for the most part, what really drives this is it does help the bottom dollar. Organizations that can create enough income, enough profit where they have the ability to start investing back in, sees a reward that that investment is actually resulting in a better market share and better perceptions of their organization. And that's the virtuous cycle. The best way to get people to do good is to show them that doing good is also going to help them. And that's just the reality of human behavior. So just some examples of high profile, socially responsible organizations. Starbucks has done a lot of work in this area, including using recycled products, using small coffee farmers for their products, and putting a lot of investment into where their sourcing comes from and how they're using their sourcing. Chipotle has talked about their food with integrity process, which includes a 401 retirement plan and health benefits for their employees. Google, for the longest while, though I'm not sure they still have this, had basically a large poster when you went into their headquarters that said, "Don't be evil." Well, in addition to not being evil, they also were one of the first companies to truly move towards carbon neutral and thinking about how their footprint impacted the environment. Whole Foods Market's another good example that is well known for being a socially responsible company. They have caps on their management compensation. They've reduced their use of non-renewable resources such as plastic bags. And they also have foundations and charitable foundations that work within with their communities to help out. So people feel good about shopping at Whole Foods because they know that not only is their money going to products that they can trust, that it's also likely going back into their environment as well, and their community. Some quick examples of social irresponsibility. My favorite one still is GlaxoSmithKline. It was in New York State, filed a suit against this drug maker for hiding data that showed that its antidepressant drug was harmful to kids. The evidence? Company memos that were actually uncovered about hiding the data to show that this antidepressant was harmful to kids. And that's actually one of the things that's often hard to find and where whistleblowers are truly valuable when it comes to social irresponsibility. And that is to find that smoking gun. Because it's very easy to claim that a company should have known something, but you usually have to show intent. And a memo from the actual CEO of a company telling people to hide data because it's bad for the company is a very good example of that smoking gun. Pfizer also settled a $2.3 billion penalty for illegally promoting its pharmaceutical products. And again, this was another example of whistleblowers. And you can just look at the headlines of any year and you'll find some companies that have run afoul of social irresponsibility. And a lot of times that does have a negative impact that lasts well beyond the event, as people are less likely to work there. The people that do work there are now feeling like they kind of have to hide who they work for. In addition, various customers may decide to go to other products and other companies for their resources. So hopefully that kind of gave you a big overview of the chapter on social responsibility and ethics and the perception of ethics. So if you have any questions, please share them in the discussion board on Canvas or email me directly if you have something that you want to ask. Thank you.